know, and we can try to fix that. All right, so today I'm going to cover how to build an LMS, which is a learning management system or learning management site on WordPress using LearnDash. Just some quick housekeeping before we get started. We are using Zoom, so you should have a Zoom meeting window that looks something like this, and you can post your questions in the chat box here, as Claire mentioned, to send in any questions. We'll do some Q&A breaks, and we'll go through those. We'll also take some time at the end to answer any additional questions. I will be using PowerPoint for this entire thing, so you will see me going in and out of WordPress, and it might look like I'm actually in WordPress, but I will be in PowerPoint the whole time. So I will try to make sure if I'm bouncing out of there and it gets confusing that I will mention that, so you will be aware. So just note that this will be through PowerPoint. Also, this is what you'll see a slide. I'll just give 5 minutes for each one. I've got 2 throughout, and then we'll do a longer one at the end if anybody has additional questions. Don't forget to grab your handout. There's a zip file that I downloaded into the chat box, and for those that are coming in after I downloaded that, I will upload it again later for those that missed it. So please, this handout is basically these slides kind of condensed down into a little bit easier to digest, and kind of giving you the steps to build the course that we're going to walk through. You will see the file looks something like this. So there will be 3 files in there. I'll actually go through these throughout the presentation so you'll have a better understanding of what those are. Additionally, there is a PDF document with a couple of different links that I will mention throughout as a takeaway so that you can learn more and do some research on LearnDash and some of the other resources that they offer. Our goal today is pretty straightforward. What we're going to do is build a basic course in WordPress using LearnDash. So here's what the final result is going to look like. So I will bounce back to this a few times just to provide the example as we walk through and build this, but we're going to build it from scratch as sort of a prototype, and then just give it a little bit of design to make it look nice, but just want to walk through and show you how this works. So if you don't understand what you're seeing right here now, you will by the end of this as we walk through. Okay, so let's do an overview and talk about what we're going to cover today. We have 7 main objectives. So first, we're going to talk about LMS and what it is, just so for those of you that aren't aware of it, have a better understanding of what that is. Next, we'll install LearnDash onto WordPress. So we'll just go through the basics of getting the plugin, installing it onto WordPress, and what that process looks like. Third, we'll walk through creating the basic course. So we'll build the structure of that course that I showed in a few slides ago, and take a look at what that is about. Once we build the structure of the course, we'll add content to it. So we'll just add some sample content and a sample video along with some images, just to show you what that looks like as you're going through the course. LearnDash also has the capability of adding certificates to your course, so you can award users for passing. So we'll walk through how to build and add a certificate to your course and just show you all the steps there. We'll publish the course live, and we'll take a look at what we built. And then finally, I'll give you a little bit of a tour of K3S University just to show you what that looks like. That's the site that Claire mentioned earlier that I manage for the K3S software users. Okay, so what is an LMS? Well, it's a learning management system. Basically, for those of you that aren't aware of what it is, it's a software that's delivered as sort of a self-paced educational or potentially a training course for users. Some refer to it as e-learning. You may have heard of some other ones, some mentioned earlier today. There's the Google, they have theirs. There's Teachable. LearnDash, though, is highly recognized. They call themselves the most trusted WordPress LMS, and at least that's what they say. I trust them. I've been using them for a while now. It's been about a little over 3 years, and they've worked pretty darn well for me. Currently, this is the pricing. So if you jump on there, they give a little discount for like 2 hours. Just clear your cache and go back and you can still get it. But this is the annual price here. There's 3 different packages here that you can get. You can get a basic site license. You can do up to 10 sites. And then you've got the 25 site license. I recommend this one if you are going to get serious about this, because it comes with this Pro panel, which is a really good tool to track and measure the users that you have on your site. So I'll show you what that looks like as well as we go through here. So I'm not going to go through all of these today, but these are some of the features of LearnDash. We will talk about focus mode, and that's building a design for LearnDash. So we'll talk about that. We'll walk through the builder, show you how that works. We'll talk about quizzes, which is why it's so powerful to be able to add those quizzes. You can make some custom post types and maybe make up your own course, but doing the quizzes takes a little more, and LearnDash makes this very, very easy. We'll also talk about the certificates and badges, and then we'll talk briefly about prerequisites and some of the other features here. Yoast SEO, if you're familiar with Yoast SEO, they have Yoast Academy. They actually use LearnDash. I've taken courses there, and it's an easy flow. So they use it as well. And they're a very popular site. They have a lot of users, so they are one that does use it. Here's a quick look at K3S University. This is a quiz or a lesson here that I have. So this is kind of what I will show later a little bit more of, but this is just a look at that. So what we're going to do now is walk into installing LearnDash onto WordPress, and we're going to build a basic course. So the course that we're going to build is one that you might want to build if you are a web designer or developer and you're building WordPress websites for clients that have no idea what WordPress is or how to use it. This is a great way to provide training for them. So what we're going to do is actually build a WordPress course on WordPress and how to use WordPress. So that's what we're going to walk through here. So I just created a website I'm using local on my computer, just a fresh WordPress site here. You can do this on any WordPress site that you have set up. I've just built a brand new one here just to show you how this all works. Okay, so the first piece that we need to do, and this is again a brand new WordPress site, just a fresh install. The first thing we need to do is add a theme. So the 2020 theme is probably not going to work very well. LearnDash does recommend some themes, and I've got that link in the handout that's in the chat box. So check those out, and I will upload that again if you don't see it, if you came in later. But the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to add a theme. So on the appearance section, here's where we have themes. Those of you new to WordPress, if you are a beginner here, themes are what brings some style to your site and gives it some structure. So it makes it a little bit easier to build. And the theme that we are going to add is called Astra. And some of you may have heard of it. It's a free theme that you can get, and it works really, really well with LearnDash. It's one of their recommended themes. So I'm going to go to Add New, and then I'm going to search for Astra. And then it's going to be Astra, not Astral. I've never tried this site. I don't know if I plan to, but this is the one we want right here, this Astra. So when we click there, we can install and we can activate. So now the Astra theme is active on our site. So that's the first step here before we get LearnDash. Before we do grab LearnDash though, Astra actually has some starter templates that you can access. If you go to that, they actually have a LearnDash starter template that you can use if you wanted to build a site really quickly with some LearnDash courses. So this would give you the style that you need here that works really, really well with LearnDash. We're not going to do that though. We're just going to really build a prototype of a course. So that's not what we're going to do here. But if you did want a quick style and theme that you could use, that's surely an option. Okay, I'm going to jump out of WordPress and I'm going to bring up a tab here in the top that is LearnDash here. So when you buy LearnDash, this is what you will get. You will get an account and you'll be able to access your plugin. Just like most paid plugins, you'll be able to download it here. So I'll do a quick download here and grab those. And now I can see those here on the bottom and they will be in my downloads folder. So back to WordPress, what we want to do now is go to the plugin section here on the left. So for those new plugins, those are going to be added to your site to give it some more capability essentially. And LearnDash is one of those things that we can do here is to give the site more capability. So if I go to plugins, go to add new, and then on the top here, I can go to upload. So since LearnDash is a paid plugin, you're not going to be able to find it here in the search. You've actually got to go upload it here and then click upload. And from here, you can choose the file and then select LearnDash. So once you do that, you click install and then activate. So now the plugin is activated on the site. We're actually only going to download one more plugin. That's all we need to actually build this course. There's not much more that you'll need to do so. LearnDash comes with a good, what they call mini boot camp. This is somewhat new for them. They actually have a series of videos and steps that you can take, almost a course within WordPress on how to use it. So they have some good resources as well, which I've really, really liked to help with some challenging things. It's definitely come in handy. But since you have me, we don't need this. We'll dismiss and we will go ahead and add that other plugin, which is the Pro panel. We'll go to choose and then we will add it here. Click install, and then activate. So now we've got our 2 plugins. So remember, the LearnDash is the main tool that we need. The Pro panel just gives us some reporting capabilities to see how the users are doing in the courses. Okay, so let's click LearnDash, and then we will go in and we can activate our license. So I'm not going to show you my license. I'm just going to go grab it here behind the scenes, and there it is. Now it's entered, and I have LearnDash activated on my WordPress site. So now we are all set, and we can go in and create our very first course. So we've done the first 2 steps. So here's where we will create a basic course for LearnDash. So before we do that, let's go through the course structure of LearnDash and take a look at the final course we're going to make. So we have sections, we have lessons, we have topics, and we have quizzes. So these are the 4 different pieces of LearnDash as you're building your course. So this is a look at the final course that we are going to build, and I'm going to zoom in here. You can see here, these are going to be the sections. So I've named that Module 1 and Module 2. And then nested inside the sections are lessons. So we have lessons here. This is a lesson as well. And then nested inside of those lessons are topics and quizzes if you'd like. So you don't have to add topics and quizzes, but this is a way to break down complexity of different things that you're teaching. So that's what I've done here. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on building the sections and building the lessons. That's going to be our first step. All right, so a basic course, again, we're gonna walk through creating the structure of the course. So we're not gonna put the content in yet. We're just gonna build out the sections and lessons to give it structure. And then we will add in some topics as well. So we'll start with creating the course. From here on the left side, when we're in our WordPress site, we see the LearnDash menu option here has been added since we've added the plugin. I'm gonna zoom in here, and we can see here are the different menu options that we have. So there's the courses, there's the lessons, there's the topics, and there's the quizzes. The sections aren't a type. They're just something that you can use as placeholders to really just organize your course. So that's going to be within building the course. So if I come into courses here, I can watch this video if I want to learn what it's all about. So that's very helpful, but we'll just add our first course. So it does work with the Gutenberg editor. It did initially work with the classic editor, but the Gutenberg editor works very well with LearnDash. They have several blocks that you can use to not only build your courses, but also build login pages and profile pages and a page with all your courses. So it brings together an organized system in your site. All right, so what we can do here, the first thing we'll do is we'll add our title. So we'll call this WordPress Basics. That's going to be the title of our course. So this course, the purpose of it is to teach new WordPress users how to use their brand new site that you built for them. So that's the idea here and what you can do. The next step is to you can add an image to it, and that's recommended because it gives it a little bit of style. Additionally, you do have options to add course categories, course tags, and similar to your posts and pages, you have those capabilities there. So this is what it looks like so far. I know it's exciting. We don't have much of a course yet, but we're going to fill it in and we're going to build up to that course I showed you in the beginning, I promise. All right, let's add that featured image. And I actually got this from WordPress.org, so you can get their logo there. Just don't play with the size or style of it. Just keep it as it is, and you can download that. You can put it here as your featured image. So again, come over here to the right to featured image, and then you can click. And then we'll go ahead and select files. And then you'll see my file here, the PNG for WordPress, and I'll go ahead and open. And then you can set it. So now it's set as my featured image for my course. So you can make that whatever you want to. You can design cool pictures that deal with whatever you're teaching in this course. You have all types of capability there with that. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to add some content to the course. So you can use the Gutenberg editor and you can just type in a description. I'll just say this course will cover the basics of WordPress. So whatever you want to put in here is fine. Everybody will be able to see it that is able to see the web page. However, if you wanted to hide some of the content, you can use LearnDash's different shortcodes and blocks to do so. So using the Gutenberg editor, you click the plus sign here, and then you search for LearnDash in here. You'll see that LearnDash has several blocks that you can use to build your course. So one that you can do is create a message that only is seen by visitors. So if you're selling your courses, that works really well with LearnDash. This will give you the capability to give that visitor to say, hey, you know, you've got to register to take this course. Or maybe if you're talking to a student, you can say, hey, welcome to the course, or whatever message that you want to add in there. You can also create profile pages and several other things that I'll show you in K3S University when we get to that at the end. So we'll create a student message here. We'll add that in and we'll say, hello and welcome to the course. Very simple. Okay, so let's publish this course and take a look and see where we are. Go ahead and view it, and there we go. We've got some stuff added on here to the course. We're getting there. We're in the beginning stages here, but we're getting there. You see we have our featured image here. Then LearnDash, the course type, will create a progress bar here. And then if you're not a logged in user, it'll actually be you can put something in there to give them a button to maybe purchase it or whatever you want to do. And then we have here our course content. Okay, so we've created the course. The next step is to create the sections and lessons. So we've got to give it some structure. So we'll go back into WordPress and we'll pull up the builder. So here is the builder for the course. So from here, we can then add in our steps to the course. And that's what LearnDash refers to it as, the steps. So first we can add in our sections. So our sections, they actually aren't considered steps. These are more so just to organize the course. You can see our final course has 15 steps, and that's going to consist of the lessons and topics and any quizzes that are outside of those. If a quiz is inside of these, then it's not considered a step. But this gives the user a progress bar to show them how they progress through the course. So here I will add the lessons by adding in a section heading here. Sorry, I'm going to add the sections, not the lessons. And I'm going to call this first one Getting Started. That's going to be my first section. And then next, I'll call this one Managing Pages and Posts. And then our third one, you can add here. And then we'll type in regular maintenance. And then you click add over here, and there you go. So you can drag these around, move them, and change the order if you choose. You can also edit them. So I'm going to actually add module 1 here to give it that structure. And now we have our 3 module sections for our course. So next we can add our lessons. So the lessons are actually going to have the content in them if you choose to. You can keep them empty and put topics within them, but you can also just create lessons for your course. That's actually a couple courses I have. They only have lessons. Then that's how it rolls through. All right, so I'll add a lesson here. We'll call it Understanding Settings. And I'll add it. And then I can drag and drop and put it right here underneath module 1. I'll create another new lesson here. And then we can add it here called Changing Your Password. So this is just some basic stuff for the user to better understand how they can manage their new WordPress site. Then number 3, we'll call it Adding a Plugin. So they want to get fancy and start adding plugins, then there you can teach them. From there, I won't make you watch me put the rest in. I've done it behind the scenes, and there we go. We have all of our steps as for lessons for the course. So that gives us that structure. All right, so let's publish it real quick and take a look at where we are. Let's go view it. And now we can see we've got that built in automatically. So the LearnDash post type for the course automatically puts this towards the top, and then it will put the course content at the bottom. And then any content that you enter in Gutenberg will go here in the middle. You do have some more control over that now with some of the builders that you can do, but this is really the basics, and this actually works pretty fine for me. So there's those steps, and there we have it. Okay, so we've created our sections and lessons. Now let's create some topics. So remember, when we look at the course structure, we have sections, lessons, topics is what we're looking at now, and then we have quizzes. So now we're going to look at topics. And the topics are going to be nested under the lesson. So there's our lesson, and then we're going to build these 3 topics there, and then we're going to build 2 additional ones on these lessons here. So that nests them underneath. And there's a closer look. So right now we're going to build these. Okay, back into WordPress, we're going to stay in the builder to do this. You don't have to, and I'll show you that later, but you can do it right here in the builder. So by clicking this down caret, we can see more of this post here and what we can do with it. So you can add quizzes right here. You can add topics. So we're gonna wait for the quizzes. We're gonna do that later. We're gonna add the topics now. So I'm gonna create my first topic, call it general settings, and I'll add it. You'll see it has that red T. And then if you wanted to, you can drag it over here if you wanted to, if you put it in the wrong spot. So you have a capability to move things around. So I'll add another, we'll call it reading settings. Go ahead and add it. And then our next one is going to be media. So now we have 3 topics here for the course. I've gone ahead behind the scenes and added some more topics throughout the course, so you don't have to watch me continue to do that. So now the course has its 15 steps. So now we've got everything ready to go. We just need to add in some content to these different pages. So let's go ahead and update, take a look here. And we can see now that we've got this new button that popped up because now the lessons have some expansion. So we've got some topics underneath. So when I go ahead and open this, you can see here, there are the topics that we created. So essentially they would start here. And then the way they complete this lesson is to complete these 3 topics, and only then can they move on here to changing their password. You are allowed to, and we'll talk about it, but you can allow them to jump around if you want to. So that's a setting that you can put on so they don't have to do it in order. But typically I keep mine so that they do it in order. That's how I design the courses. All right. So we've created topics, we've created sections and lessons, and we've created a course. So before I move on, I want to check in with everybody and do a quick, like 5-minute here Q&A, just to check in with everybody. I did see some questions in there, so I'm going to throw a little timer up here so we can stay on time. I'm going to bring up the chat here. There it is. Okay. Somebody asked if there is a handout. Yes, there is. I will load it again here.
The handout is also in the comments on the meetup page. We can't actually add it to the description now, but it is in the comments.
Okay, great. Okay. Looks like I don't see any. Okay, can you add a video to the courses in LearnDash? Yes, I will actually be showing that. So you will see that. And then another question is, if you don't renew the license, do you still have those courses? I honestly have never tried that. So I think if you don't renew, they would probably, the plugin probably wouldn't function properly, or you wouldn't be able to update. I'm actually not too sure about that. I could check into that, but I think you'll need the updates to keep the plugin to work the right way. But good question. Okay, that's all I see. Claire, am I missing any aside from that? Oh, looks like we have another. Does LearnDash recommend a builder? Yes, really Gutenberg is the main one right now. They've just come out with an add-on for Elementor. So Elementor is one that will work with LearnDash, but the Gutenberg one actually does really well. When I show you the focus mode, you'll see how it works. So we can discuss it then. How do you determine visitors versus students for customized messaging? Is it a dependent login? So you can open your courses to the public if you want to, but what I do is I have a little over 400 users now on the K3S University site, and I actually control what courses they go into, and I'm able to track their progress. So it's really up to you how you want to do that. If you want to require them to log in, which I imagine you would, that's what you can do. You can also create a way for them to buy courses, and PayPal integrates really well with it. I've personally not tried that, but I know that they have good resources on how that is set up. In terms of customized messaging, that would probably be through a comment plugin, but that's not actually something I use for this. We actually have a support channel for K3S, so that's kind of how we access that. What sort of hosting is recommended for LearnDash? Well, we use WP Engine with K3S, and it's managing over 420 students or so, something like that. And load times are pretty good. It's just over a second per page. So I've gotten it to be pretty fast with some other plugins. But I imagine like SiteGround would work if you have one of the higher ones. But yeah, I would say WP Engine is one that I use and I really like. Okay. One more here. You mentioned tracking progress. Is this a built-in feature? Does it track video progress? We'll actually talk about the progress and the videos in the next section. So great question. I'll make sure to answer that. And Ron, if I don't answer that fully, we'll make sure to answer that at the end so that we can discuss it further. All right. So I'm going to shut that down. Okay, so we will continue on here. I want to check back in with the overview objectives. So far we talked about what an LMS is. We talked about LearnDash and how to install it onto WordPress, and then we've created our basic course to start. So now we'll go into the fun part, and that's to add content to our course. This is actually what's going to take the longest. So to have to add your content is you have to come up with it. That's the key. But what I'm going to do is just show you how to add some sample content and images to the course, just to show you how it works. We'll look at how to add videos, and then we will create some quizzes. All right, first let's start with content and images. Okay, so back into WordPress we go. So we are here in the builder. Let's go back here on the top. You'll see there's a back button here. And you can also extend this out so that the menu option is here. You can do that within the gear. But let's go back to the courses here. So we have our menu again. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to go to lessons. So the LearnDash menu again consists of some of these different fields here. We're going to talk now about lessons. So within the lessons tab, you can actually create your lessons here if you wanted to. We created it in the builder. That's where we did it. And I like doing it this way because it automatically associates these lessons to the course. But you can do it here, and you can add them to the course in that way if you'd like to. You can also add them to multiple courses, so you have some capability in there to do that. So we're going to open up the Understanding Settings lesson. And this will bring up a page that looks just like the course page. It also looks just like your posts and pages as well. And again, you can turn on, I know that Elementor, Divi, and Beaver Builder all work at least somewhat with LearnDash. So if you are using those plugins, there is some things you can do. If you know code, there's probably a lot more you can do. But for me, the Gutenberg editor has really done the trick, and it's pretty easy to use. So that's what we're going to use here to build our content. So I'm going to go ahead and click the plus sign. I'm going to click my paragraph. And then I'm going to add my favorite reading in here, Lorem Ipsum. So I love to read it. This is what I'm going to add here. This is going to be the content for my course. Now, typically, if you're showing some software, what I do is I typically do a sentence and a screenshot with an arrow and just kind of guiding them through that software. That's typically what I'll do if I'm doing any text in here. Mostly what I do is videos for these courses. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this. We've got an update here, and we'll go ahead and view. And then we will jump into the Understanding Settings. And then here is the text we just put in here. You can see it there. And then there's also our topics. So we have all that. So the user would read this. Maybe it's some objectives. Maybe it's a video. And then they can go into their topics afterwards. Okay, so now that we've got the text, let's add an image. So we can use the plus sign up here. Things have moved around a little bit since the new update. We'll go ahead and add an image. So you can add just like you would with a blog post or a page. You can go ahead and upload. And then we're going to use this WordPress settings picture I grabbed behind the scenes. And then there it is. So we've got our content, we've got our picture. So we'll update this again. Then we're going to go view the lesson here. We can do so from the bottom. And then I'm going to do a refresh. And there's our picture. So if you want to do like a tutorial that goes through WordPress, maybe you want to go through additional steps, you can do text, picture, whatever you need to do to show how that works. I've found that some users actually like that better than videos because they can print it out and read it. But I personally prefer the videos, and it's actually much easier when you're creating courses. Okay, so let's jump back in here to our agenda here. So we've added our content and images. Now let's get to the fun part. We're going to add videos. So I know somebody asked about that, so we're going to look at how that works. All right, so I'm actually going to back out of here. I'm going to hit the back button up here in the top left. And now I'm going to go into my topics. So you can add videos to lessons, you can. So you can add them right in here. But I'm just doing this so much just to show you how you can now jump into your topics. So we're going to pull those up. And again, you can see that they are assigned to the course that I built. And then they also have an assigned lesson that they're nested underneath. So I'm going to pull up my general settings topic. And it looks just like our lesson, right? We can add content here. We can add a featured image if we wanted to. I typically don't do the featured image for the lessons and topics. I just do it for the course. So you don't really necessarily need to do that. But here's where we will add our video. So click the plus sign here and I'll search for video. And we have some options here for this. We have typically what people will do is either YouTube or Vimeo. I've never tried any of the other of these. Vimeo is actually the one that I recommend, because if you get a Vimeo account and you're trying to sell courses or you want to keep this content protected, Vimeo is a great way to do that. You may be able to do that with YouTube. I'm just not aware of how. Vimeo has been what I've used, and it's not too expensive for the premium version that works for this. So you can upload your videos into Vimeo, and then when you do that, you'll get a link that you can add here. And I'll do this link here. This is a placeholder of the sky, cool video. And this is going to be what we'll use here for this. But whatever your link is, that's how you can add your video, and it gets embedded right on the page, just like it would for a post. So when we go ahead and update this, and then we'll view it. And I'm going to jump in here to the general settings, and there it is. So you've got a nice progress bar here. You've got the breadcrumbs that will show you the way and how we got here. And then we've got a mark complete here, and then a move on button. So a couple things about videos that might be interesting to you. You can force the user to watch the whole video, so they can't move on until they watch it. So that is an option in the settings. So if you do that, basically that means that if they don't watch this full video, they cannot go on to the next topic until they do. So that is an option that you can do for videos. And I believe there's also an autoplay that works as well. So when you move on to the topic, it will actually autoplay. So that does it for videos. Pretty easy to get in there with the Gutenberg editor, makes it simple. But you can use YouTube as well if you like, if that's easier for you. All right, so now that we've added videos, let's create some quizzes. We're actually just gonna create one quiz, but I'll show you how that works here. And back to our course structure. Remember, we have sections, we have lessons, topics, and quizzes. So that's how we build our course. And when we look closer at the course, you'll see that we have a quiz here that we're going to be adding to the course. Now, a couple things about quizzes. Quizzes can live under topics, they can live under lessons, and they can live under the entire course. So what I do for a lot of my courses is I'll put a quiz underneath everything and do some repetition for the user. So they're seeing the same question over and over again, so that they can gain, that repetition to remember what they're looking at. Some people will just do a quiz in every lesson. So you have a quiz here, maybe a quiz here, and then a final exam. So that's something that you can do. You can play with that. You don't even have to have quizzes if you don't want. So that's also an option. So it's up to you how you want your course to look. Okay, so let's jump back into WordPress. We're gonna go back here, click our back button to the topics, and then we're gonna open up the quizzes. So this is another post type here within LearnDash. So that's the quizzes. We have a nice video that shows you how it works, and we'll go ahead and add our first quiz. So again, this looks just like the others, just a page type here, post type. We're gonna name this quiz Understanding Settings Quiz. So that's where we're gonna put it. So Understanding Settings. And then where we're going to do most of the work is in the builder. Now you can add content to this, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's gonna show on every single question. So you don't really need to. You can just use the builder here. Okay, so this looks similar to the course builder. What you can do is add in some new questions. That's our first step here. And I actually strategically name these because this is not going to be seen by the user. This is going to be seen just by you. And you can actually use your questions on multiple quizzes. So I know what quiz is or what question is what. I make sure that I name it properly. So if I'm going to build a quiz for a lesson and then do a final exam at the end of the course, that way I can easily know what questions I need to put in that final exam that are going to be gone over in that. So make sure you name it strategically. Okay, if we click our down caret here, and go ahead and add in our question. So there's a little note here that says, put in your question. And then we can, where can we find the WordPress general settings? And then we give it some answers here. I'll go over the different question types that you can do, but this is going to be a single choice for this one. We'll add under plugins, no, under the settings menu, yes, website control panel, not on Netflix. Our correct answer is under the settings menu. So we have that, and we tell LearnDash what the correct answer is for the user. So that's pretty easy. So let's add another one here. And then again, we strategically name it so we know where we're grabbing it from. We'll click the down caret, and then we'll take a look at some of the other questions that you can do. So you can do single choice, multiple choice, which I believe represents multiple answers if you wanted to. Free choice, sorting, matrix, fill in the blank, assessment, and even an essay question. So if you want to make them complete an essay, you have to grant approval before they pass, so that you'll get notified and everything, and you can then do that. I actually don't do that because that might be too much work. But if it is something that you needed and was worth it for you, that's something that you can use. I'll keep this basic here. We'll do fill in the blank, and I'll type in my question here. So the blank settings tab allows you to change the week starting date. I hope I got this right. I'll put the brackets in here. It says over here to put your answer in brackets. So I believe you can type out the whole question if you want to, but I just put in the answer here and that works. So that's how you give it the answer that you're looking for. Additionally, we have different question settings that you can add. So you can add a message if the answer is correct, or a message if it's incorrect. So here we have correct, try again. Or maybe in the incorrect, you could put, go check this lesson over here and go figure it out. You can even give a hint if you want to. Starts with a G. There you go. Click save. And behind the scenes, I created a third question, so we have a good rule of 3 here, good decent quiz. Okay, a couple more things about quizzes. Now, you can also add an amount of points to each question. So I'm going to change these to have a different amount of points. I'm going to make this 5 points. And the reason that's important is because you can create a passing grade for the user. You can say, don't let them move on until they get at least 80% or at least 90% or even at least 100%. So if you created 10 questions, you made them all worth 10 points, they need to get, only one wrong to move on if you made it a 90% passing grade. So that is your option there. Some more of the settings here for quizzes that we'll go into is you can associate it to the course right here if you want to. We're actually going to use the builder, so I'll go over that in a minute. You can create a quiz certificate if you want to. That's an option. And then here is also your passing score that you can create. You can also restrict quiz retakes. So if maybe you only give them a few tries, maybe they only have 3 times to pass or they're fail, so that they can't move on until you open it up to them or do something. So you can add that as well. You can add retries to specific users if you want to. So there's a lot of options in here, and even create a time limit if you want to. So you can give them an hour if that's the case. You can add materials. You can create it so that all questions are either one at a time or that they're all on the entire page. So you have a lot of cool different options here in the display and in the settings. And then finally, you can also hide the results if you want to. So I believe it is this button here. So if you want to not show them the correct answers, you can do that here as well. Or you can show them the incorrect or correct. So there's some options in there that allow you to tailor that. And then finally, you can provide statistics as well. And I think there's actually, oh yes, that you can, I've never done this, but you can show an average score. So either you're gonna make them feel good or you're gonna make them feel bad and hurt their feelings. So that average score is there if you want to show them that. Okay, and additionally, you can create templates. So templates are always good, makes things a little bit faster. So templates are an option. And email notifications. So if you have an instructor that you wanna have the email by the time that they pass the quiz or fail, you can set that up to a specific user or whoever you have on your WordPress site to do. Or I believe it's actually by email. Okay, so let's go add this to the course. We'll go back to our quizzes. We'll come into LearnDash, and then we'll go to courses. And then we're gonna find our course that we've been working on here. Then we are going to click the builder. And then we're going to expand the lesson where we want to add this quiz. There it is. And then we can see it here on the right, and then we can click add. So you can see any quizzes that you've made, click add, and then you'll see it down here on the bottom. So now you can actually drag this around if you want to make it nested under a topic, but we'll keep it down here nested under the lesson. So we got that built. All right, so that is, let's actually do a quick update. We'll check it out and see what it looks like here. So we'll jump back in. So now on our list of steps here for the lesson, we can see here the understanding settings quiz. All right, so let's start it, and here's what it looks like. So it has a nice, easy interface where the user can easily take the quiz, and then they can see their results. Looks like I failed. 44.44% chance. So that's it. So this is this is what they'll see when they complete the course, or you can hide these answers if you choose. All right, so we've created content and images, we've added videos, and we've created a quiz. So now comes another fun part. We can add a certificate to the course. Additionally, you can add badges. There's different add-ons for LearnDash where you can add badges as well. I think the one is Gamify, I think is the name of it. Never used it, but that is an option. I've seen that on different sites. All right, so to create your certificate, one that I use is Canva because it's easy. You can also use Photoshop. I've used that too. But Canva makes this pretty easy to just spit out a quick certificate, and they have a bunch of templates. So Canva, I have a link to that in the resource handout, so you can access that there. LearnDash actually recommends this too. They have a video. This is where I learned how to do it. And you can use Canva to create that certificate. So create a free account, and you can come in here and create a design, and then type in certificate, and you should see that there. So it has a bunch that you can use. If you've got a free account, you're limited to some, but you really won't need anything too complex. So we can create a certificate that will do the job pretty easily here. So I'm gonna add this one. So the thing about creating it in LearnDash is that you've got to keep it pretty empty in the middle. So you don't want to put a bunch of stuff here, because once the user completes the course, we want to put the information that we're going to input right here. In this area here. So you're going to want it to look something like this. You can get fancy and add a signature there if you want to. Maybe that's your name and your position. And then potentially add your logo up here, play with the font, make it look however you want. This will be our certificate for this course. Okay, so once you've created this in Canva, and again, there's a video from LearnDash that will walk you through how to do all this. I'm kind of doing a quick version here just to show you what it looks like. We'll click the download button here, and then we'll download it as a PNG, and we've got it. So notice I've jumped back to my WordPress site without clicking anything to get back there. That's because we're in PowerPoint. So if you got a little lost there, I've just jumped to a slide ahead to get into the WordPress dashboard here. Okay, so when we come into LearnDash here, we can click certificates. You can see that here as one of our menu options. And here is a close-up of that. And then there's that video I was talking about. It's actually right here within WordPress. They'll walk you through how to create the certificate. So the trick about creating the certificate in WordPress for LearnDash is you've got to use the classic editor, which can be a little bit difficult. I have actually added a file to that folder of handouts that will give you the text that I've used for this, but I'll kind of show you here what to do and how that works. So if you go down, or first we got to name it. So we're going to name it WordPress Course Certificate. And then we want to add it as a featured image. So our certificate is going to be a featured image. So if I click here and go to my upload, and then I'll find my certificate that I just made in Canva, my download folder, and I'll go ahead and open it. And then you can add your text as needed. I'm not going to do that here, but you can if you want. And go ahead and set as a featured image. Okay, so now we've got the featured image made. So next we've got to put the content on there, which is the tricky part. So let's go here to the visual editor here. And we can see here is our certificate. Looks a little confusing. Our cursor's over here, you can see it. So we've got to actually get that moved over here to the middle. Got it there. So LearnDash has some short codes again. In the Gutenberg, these are blocks, but traditionally in the classic editor, they were short codes. So you can go ahead and choose what you want to add to the certificate. So based on the course that you're adding it to, these are some of the things that you can add. Typically for a course, what I'll add is the title of the course, the user's name, and the date. So those are the three things that we'll do here. So that's what it would look like. And when you publish this, it's actually like way to the left. So I've figured this out through the video, and this is what it looks like at first here when I go to the text editor. But I figured it out in the video and I've added it here, and this actually makes it work perfectly. So you'll get to see that towards the end, what that looks like. So again, I have a file in the handouts where you can copy and paste this right into your certificate if you were to use this, or you can follow on the video. They'll show you how to do it. And I think I tweaked it a little bit, but here's the first and last name. Here's text that says issued to, so that's going to be in there always. And then the name and first name and last name of the user will pop up depending on who they are, in recognition of completing the course. And then here is where you would put the course title. So the trick here is you've got to put the course ID based on the course that you're adding. So I'm going to show you how to grab that in a second. And then finally, we can show the date, again, with the course ID. So those are the things you need. So for you, when you look at that text file that I sent you, the only things that you're going to need to edit are the course ID. If you want to change things, you can. You might be better than me with code, so feel free to change it whatever way you want it to look, but this will do the trick here for what we're doing. So here is a close-up. Again, we need that course ID for this to work for the course that we're working with. Okay. So to get that, if you go to your courses in LearnDash and just hover over the course, you'll notice here in the bottom that it will give you the link. And you can see that post number right there on the bottom. Now I'm going to zoom into this to show you. So this is what it looks like on the bottom. So you just need that 7. That's what you need there. That's 7. Okay. Okay, so let's jump back in. We've added the 7, and there it goes. So again, in the handouts that I gave you, I've given you this text, and I've highlighted that course ID. So that's all you've got to change based on the course when you build it. Whatever that post number is, that's what you've got to add there, and this will work for you. All right, so now we can add the certificate to the course once we've made it. So let's go back to our course page here, and we are going to pull up the WordPress Basics course, go into the settings, and then we're going to add the certificate that we created, and then we can update. So from here, we'll take a quick break. Well, I'm going to make you wait to see the certificate till we actually publish the course, so we'll get back to that in a second. I'm going to take a couple questions here, at least for 5 minutes, see what we got caught up on here. Okay, so just a couple questions. Tracking progress, again, we will look at in a moment. Somebody likes Star Trek, Lormanson. Can you use a video from the WP Media Library? Yes, you can. You can upload it through there if you'd like. Yes, that will work. I've never done it that way, so no guarantees, but I know that it is an option, and I've seen it as an option in the Gutenberg editor. Let's see. Is there an option to force users to complete a video enabled by default? It's not enabled by default. You have to turn it on for that. And then we have, what is the difference between single and multiple choice? If you're offering a different answer, options for single choice. Good question. I thought the same thing when I first saw it. I just do single choice, and that seems to work fine. I think multiple choice, it just allows you to have multiple answers. So you can do more than one answer if you want to through multiple choice. And then can a user fast forward through the video? Depends on what your video is. So if you have Vimeo, the premium, I think the second tier premium account, you can create so that they can go through the video, 2x or 3x, whatever it is. If it's YouTube, that should be there by default. But I know for Vimeo, you have to have, I think, like the second tier premium for that to work. And then is branching possible? Can you elaborate on that? I'm not sure I understand. Well, I'm waiting for Ron. Any recommendations for images royal free? Yeah, you can use the images that are royalty free from like Pixabay or Pexels if you want to, and you might be referring to your featured image. That is an option. Yeah, you can use those. So, okay. All right, so at this point, I don't see any more, so I'll take the rest at the end. Let's see, one just popped up. Can a user be sent to a different question based on the answer for a current? That's a good question. I will look into that, Ron, and check. I know that you can change the the sequence of the answer or the questions if you want to, or you can make them random, but I'm not sure that you can make it a sequence based on those answers. So good question. I'll look into that. All right, very good. Let's take it home here. We're going to publish the course and get it on our WordPress site. So we did publish it a few times throughout just so I could show you what it looked like, but this is the official publish and the unveiling of this pretend course that we're building here in this presentation. So let's pull up our course, and you can find that again through the LearnDash LMS, the courses menu there. We'll pull up WordPress basics, and then we will publish. So before we do that, I have some settings. I just added a couple of these in before we started here. Thought they'd be relevant. So we have some different settings here for the course that you can do. You can create some different access points to this. So if you want this to be open to everybody, you can make it open. You can make the course free, but it requires registration and enrollment to take the course. Basically, any users on your WordPress site would have access if you make it a free course. You can make it a pay-for course if you want to. You can also use PayPal or Stripe with this to create a recurring fee. And then finally, you can also close the course. So what I do for K3S University is I just keep them all closed, and basically what I do is just enroll users depending on their situation. So that's how I'm adding them. But all these options are there, and you can use them. You can also do course prerequisites. So if you wanted to make sure they completed the basics course before they get into the advanced course, you have that capability to block them from doing so. Additionally, you can make the course time released. So if you want to do one module a week or one lesson a week, you can do that as well. So you can say, every Thursday at 5 p.m., the next lesson will be available for the course. Then you can start to take it. Additionally, here is a look at the user settings. So for your user, you'll now have this on the bottom where you can then enroll them into the courses. So this is how you would do so. LearnDash also allows you to create groups. So you can create groups of people. So if you've got like companies you're selling this to and they have users, you can group them and segment them with different groups. And for everybody in the group, you can give access to that group easily instead of doing it individually. So a lot of different options there for you, but wanted to give you a little insight into that. All right, let's go publish the course. This is what we're here for. We'll click publish, and then we will view the course. So here it is. Well, wait a minute. It's not this though, right? It doesn't look like that course we saw in the beginning, does it? So we've got to actually go back to base here, and we've got to turn on the focus mode. So what that's going to do is it's going to give the course some style because this is not what we saw in the beginning, right? So let's go to the dashboard, and we're going to come into LearnDash, and then we're going to go to the settings. We're going to explore this a little bit. So here's where you can give some style to your course. So you have the ability to add some different colors. So if you've got your company logo and your colors, you can add those if you want. This is the cool one that they've come out with, I think about a year or two ago, the focus mode. This is what I'll show you in a minute. This is what I use. This makes the style look really slick and easy for the user to follow. So you can choose how wide you want it to be as well. You can create login and registration right here too. So LearnDash helps you manage that. And then finally, we'll put in a logo here. We'll use the WordPress logo. Good. Okay, so we've got our style added on. That's all it took. Of course, you can do more if you've got builders or coding abilities. So there's a lot more you can do with this. But at a basic level, this is what we can do to make a decent course. All right, so I've saved the settings. I'm going to come back. So this is what it looked like before. And then when we refresh, here's what it is now. So much, much nicer. Get rid of that sidebar. And we've got a nice little progress over here. Keeps it focused. So it's going to take away your entire header and replace it with this. So on the top here, we have that logo. And that will actually bring them to the home page of your website. Here's their progress bar. So this shows them the progress they're making to the course. And then they have their name up here where they can log out or go to the course home. And then here on the left side, we have all of the different steps that we created in the last hour. So as we go through the course here, here's a look at the video that we made. And then here are the topics underneath the lesson. Here's a look at the quiz. Go ahead and start it here. And this is a look at the quiz. Here's the fill in the blank. And then here is the last question. Additionally, you can make it so that all the questions are, so there's no pagination, that you're actually just seeing all the questions on one page. That is an option. Here's our hint. And you can, so I know when I was in school, I like to see all the questions. So sometimes I jump around and try to answer some of the other ones first if I got stuck. So that is an option as well. I know you can create like a way for them to bounce around on the top. So there's a few other style options that you can add to this. Okay, so we'll go ahead and I passed this time, yay. So I can move on and hopefully get my certificate. So let's continue here. And here's where you can see the results. So if you get any wrong, you can create a message if you want to, or you can hide all this all together so they can't see it until they pass. All right, so I've completed the course. You can see, I know that was fast. You can see here in the top, 100% completed, all 15 steps. And on the left side, we can also see my progress. So I can jump back here, and now all of a sudden my certificate's here. So since I added a certificate, it goes to the front of this. And as for style, the focus mode, it actually just styles the lessons and topics and quizzes. So you can style this differently if you want to. I'll show you what my K3S University ones look like so you can have an idea of what the Astra theme is good for. So I'll show you that in a minute. But I passed, so here's my certificate, yay. So this is what we added here with that snippet of code. So again, issued to, there's my name, in recognition of, that's the course title. That's making sure you put that correct post ID in. And then also the date is important as well with that post ID. So I can print this out, hang it on my wall. I just might, feeling pretty excited here, I passed. Okay, so now before we wrap up and get to Q&A, I want to give you a look at K3S University. So a little bit of background, I was hired by them to manage and train their software users. So the K3S University site is essentially a knowledge base for the user. So they can search here and they can find different articles to answer the questions for the software. So the software itself is pretty complex, it's robust. It is inventory buying software. Here's a picture of the home screen of the software for a user. This is a demo database that I use to build the documentation. Essentially, they're warehouse buyers. They're filling their warehouse with inventory to make sure that they don't run out of stock and that they're able to fulfill sales. So the K3S customers are typically in different industries such as tires, machine parts, pharmaceuticals, wine. Their main niche, though, is the convenience store world. So gas stations and grocery stores. So these warehouses are shipping all those things, their items such as food, candy, water, and yes, even toilet paper. So those are all what those K3S customers are doing. So the K3S software helps them buy the right amount of inventory. But with that, it's robust and it's complex. So that's where I've come in to help those users learn to use this software properly. So I've actually worked with the lead developer, and he created a way to automatically log them in to that WordPress site, K3S University, just by clicking in that software, and then it automatically logs them into the site so that they can jump into the site and they can do a search. Maybe they're searching how to do something, and it gives them a knowledge base of articles that we've created to help them find the answer to their question. So that is the knowledge base piece. So if it is a complex topic, it requires a course. So we've got courses that in the site that will help the user get through some of the more complex tasks that they have. So here is a look at the profile page. So this is a nicer design than we looked at before, but this is all with the Astra theme. So it's not too hard to build. You can create a profile page, so how many courses they're enrolled in, how many they completed, their certificate, and then the courses below. And then you can create a page that will show all the online courses and what they've taken. So if the user, if it's not a user, they'll see this, but they won't see a progress bar. It'll look a little bit different, but there's our featured image. So the featured images are there to make the course, give the courses a little bit of style and to see what they're, to keep them looking good. Here is a look at inside the course. So this is a lesson here. You can see a video on the top, some content on the bottom, and some pictures. So that is there to help guide them through. It's to make the process very linear and very easy to follow. Okay, and then also I've used an external plugin to create a dashboard within the WordPress site for managers of the buyers that use the software. So within here, there's the tool is, and I actually, sorry, forgot to put it in the resources. I will send it out on Slack or give it to Claire to distribute. But the tool is called Uncanny Owl, something like that. And it allows you to build a dashboard. It works with LearnDash to build a dashboard so that managers can go in and see how the users are doing with the courses. So they don't have to email me like they have before and say, you know, how is Bruce Wayne doing with his course? I need to know how he's doing so I can, you know, make sure he's on track with his courses. So now they can actually log into the site, and I've given them access to this so they can see how their users are doing. You can see Batman's doing pretty well, but Superman, not so much. He hasn't started. So that's a look at that dashboard. So before we finish up with some Q&A, I just want to do a quick recap. We walked through what an LMS is. We talked about how to install LearnDash to WordPress. We walked through creating a basic course and adding content to that course. We added a certificate to the course, and I like that because it gives them a reward. You saw how excited I got. It gives them that reward when they finish the course and create some gamification. And then finally, we published the course live and checked out K3S University. So thanks, everybody. So I'm happy to stay on to answer additional questions. I know we have a little more time left, so I'm going to check through the chat box here to grab it. All right, let's see. Who did I miss? All right, and I have my site up if needed, if we need to see, if anybody needs to see anything. Okay, any tricks for using the iPhone or iPad? It is actually pretty mobile friendly. I've tested it out on my phone and iPad, the site, and it actually works very well. You don't really need to do much. It came out pretty well overall. Maybe the design of the course page might be a factor, but in terms of the focus mode, it will work pretty easily. Do you recommend installing on your main site or install on a subdomain? That's really up to you and how you want to do it. You could create a member site as a subdomain. I see a lot of different sites doing that. Like Yoast Academy, for example, I think they have a separate site for their different users that are taking their course. So that is an option, really up to you and how you want to do that. Adding sample lessons. Yes, you can. You can make the video, you can make any videos viewable by anybody if you want to, so that they are able to kind of check out the course and see what it's like, and then they can decide to pay it. And yes, it does work with WooCommerce. I've not personally tried it, but I know that there are add-ons that work with it. Okay, let's see. Thanks everybody for your kind words. Can questions be imported? Good question, Ron. You've had some good questions tonight. I'm going to write those down and check on that for you. Hope you're in the Slack channel, so I will check into that. All right, very good. All right, well, if anybody has any questions, I will be in the Slack channel available in there, or yeah, so hope that you're in there. And I'm free to hang on longer if anybody wants to jump on and ask any additional questions. Thanks, everybody.
That was great, Mike. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay.